Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. Today I am going to review the mesh current analysis technique for your convenience. Before going to the circuit solution, first of all, you have to know what a mesh is. You also have to know the difference between a mesh and a loop. Actually, we already know what a loop is. See, I have written the definition of a loop here. A loop is any closed path around a circuit. It is allowed to go through an element just one time. For example, I have drawn a circuit here. You can see in the circuit of figure A, there are three possible loops. Loop L1, which goes from V1 to R1 to R3 and back to V1 again. That is, this loop contains three parameters, V1, R1 and R2. You are considering each parameter just once. Okay. Similarly, L2 is a loop. It contains R2, R3 and V2. But there is another loop too, and which is L3. It is a loop that is all the way around the circuit. It contains only the external elements of the circuit. L3 contains V1, R1, R3, V2, these elements only. So, you can see that I have drawn L1 and L2 with solid lines. But I have drawn L3 with a dashed line. There must be some difference between L1 and L3 or L2 and L3. So, before knowing the difference, we can see the definition of a mesh. What is a mesh? A mesh is a restricted kind of loop. From the definition of a mesh, we can see that a mesh is also a loop, but it is a restricted kind of loop. Like what? In a mesh, inside a mesh, you will not be able to find any other loop. A mesh is a loop, but inside a mesh, you will not be able to find any other loop. That is, it is the shortest possible loop. See, inside L1, you won't be able to find any other loop. Inside L2, you won't be able to find any other loop. But inside L3, there are two other loops. Those are L1 and L2. So, mesh is the shortest possible loop. It is a loop, but inside it, you won't be able to find any other loop. Here, you can consider L1 both as a mesh and a loop. Similarly, L2 is both a mesh and a loop. But L3 is only a loop. You cannot consider L3 as a mesh because it is not the shortest possible one. Inside L3, there are two other loops. Those are L1 and L2. So this is the difference between a mesh and a loop. Got it? Now we are going to see some solution of circuits by applying mesh current analysis technique. This is the first example. See, in this example of figure 1, you are asked to find all the mesh currents in the circuit. Okay, I have written those rules how to solve a circuit using mesh current analysis technique. Rule number 1. First of all, you have to identify all the meshes in the circuit. You can see I have already identified and found 3 meshes, that is 3 shortest possible loops in the circuit. This one, and this one. Okay. Rule number 2. Assign a current variable to each mesh using a consistent direction. I have already assigned current variables, that is I1, I2 and I3, to each of the 3 meshes, and I have considered them in clockwise directions. You have to either consider all those currents either in clockwise or in anti-clockwise direction. I have considered all of them in clockwise direction. See, clockwise direction. I1, I2 and I3. All of them are in clockwise directions. Got it? Now, the third rule. Here you have to write Kirchhoff's voltage law for each of the meshes. That is, there are 3 meshes and you have to write 3 KVLs. Simply 3 KVLs for 3 meshes. And at the end you have to solve these equations. Then there are 3 equations, 3 unknown parameters I1, I2 and I3. After solving these 3 equations, you will easily get I1, I2 and I3. Okay? Now, let's start solving this circuit. First of all, I am considering mesh 1. Okay, mesh 1. So, what can I write? Okay, one thing to remember, that is when you are writing a mesh equation for any mesh, that is I am writing mesh equation for mesh 1, you have to consider this mesh current larger than any other currents of the circuit. When I am writing KVL equation for mesh 1, I have to consider I1 the larger one among these 3 currents. Got it? We can say that only I1 is flowing through 2 volt voltage source and 1 ohm resistor. There is no interference of any other mesh currents upon these 2 elements. But 4 voltage source and this 1 ohm resistor, these 2 elements are common terminals between mesh 1 and mesh 2. These 2 elements are common and we cannot say that only I1 or only I2 is flowing through them. Actually, there is a combination of the current I1 and I2 that is flowing through these 2 elements. Okay. Now, we have to write Kirchhoff's voltage law equations around each mesh. And we know that what the Kirchhoff's voltage law tells us. It tells us that the algebraic sum of voltages around any closed path is equals to 0. If we want to write KVL for mesh 1, we have to find the algebraic sum of voltages around these 4 elements. That is, for 2 volt, this 1 ohm resistor, 4 voltage source and this 1 ohm resistor, we have to assign the polarity of voltages across each of the element. But already the polarity of voltages of 2 volt and 4 volt is given as they are voltage sources. But we don't know the voltage polarities of this 1 ohm and this 1 ohm resistors. Okay, so how can we assign the polarity of the voltages across these 2 elements? It is easy to assign the voltage polarity across this 1 ohm resistor. We know that I1 is only flowing through it and it is flowing in a clockwise direction. So it is entering from this end of the resistor. We can easily assign plus sign here and minus sign here. What about this 1 ohm resistor? You can see that I1 is entering from the upper part of the resistor and I2 is entering from the bottom part of the 1 ohm resistor. Actually, what is happening here? The 1 ohm resistor, I1 is entering from the upper part of it and I2 from the bottom part of it. a resultant current will flow through the 1 ohm resistor. Not only I1 or not only I2, as both of them are of different directions, I1 and I2, entering from the upper port, entering from the bottom port. So a current will flow, and that will be the difference of these two. Either it will be I1 minus I2 or I2 minus I1, depending upon the magnitude of these two currents. If I1 is greater than I2, then the current that will cause to flow through the resistor will be like this. I1 is greater than I2. The current will follow the direction of I1, and its magnitude will be simply I1 minus I2. Okay. So if the direction of the current is like that, then the voltage drop across it will be like this. Got it? Similarly, if I2 is greater than I1, then the current will follow the direction of I2, and the magnitude will be simply I2 minus I1, and the voltage drop across it will be like this if I2 greater than I1. Got it? Now I have assigned the polarities like this, as I am considering I1 the greatest among all these currents. So the current that will flow through this 1 ohm resistor will be like this, in this direction, if we are considering I1 the largest, and the voltage drop will follow the direction of I1. See my KVL here. The KVL in loop 1, and we can get minus 2 volt plus 1 into I1, that is I into R. The voltage drop across this 1 ohm resistor, then the voltage of the 4 voltage source plus 4 volt, and then plus the current that is flowing through this 1 ohm resistor will be simply I1 minus I2, and its resistor is 1 ohm, so I into R. Why I1 minus I2, not I2 minus I1? Because I1 is the largest here, so the direction of the current will be obviously according to the direction of I1. See, which is equals to 0. The algebraic sum of voltage around any closed loop is equals to 0. Similarly, for loop 2, I have assigned the polarities like this, as I2 is the largest, so the direction of the current that will flow through this 1 ohm resistor is like this, that is the positive terminal in the bottom portion and negative in the upper portion. So plus I2 minus I1 into 1 minus 4, and can you say me what happens for this 2 ohm resistor? The current, only I2 will flow through this, so the voltage drop across it will be 2 into I2, then plus 3 into I2 minus I3, as I2 is the greatest here, and 3 ohm is the common terminal between mesh 2 and mesh 3. If the current I2 is greater, then the direction of the current will be obviously like this, and voltage drop will follow the direction of the current. That's why I have written this mesh equation: plus 1 into I2 minus I1 minus 4 plus 2 I2 plus 3 into I2 minus I3. That is, for which loop you are writing the KVL, you have to consider that loop current the largest one. See, always I2 minus something, I2 minus I1 or I2 minus I3. Okay. Similar situation is for I3, as I3 is the greater now, so the voltage drop across the 3 ohm resistor will be simply 3 into I3 minus I2 minus 2 and plus 4 into I3 only, because for these two elements there is no interference of any other loop currents. Now I have three KVL equations and I can solve them easily. Finally, I have got these three mesh currents I1,